Welcome back to the deep dive. We have a stack of research on the desk today that I think is going to totally change the way you look at the screen in front of you.
It really is.
We're looking at the fourth Anthropic Economic Index, which dropped just this month, January 2026. And honestly, it completely tears apart the story we've been telling ourselves about artificial intelligence for the last 3 years.
It really does. It flips the script entirely. The narrative has always been that AI is the great equalizer, right?
Right.
The idea that this magic wand would lift the novice up to the level of the expert, it was supposed to flatten the playing field.
So that whether you are a junior intern or a 20-year veteran, the output would look, roughly the same. Everyone gets a PhD assistant theory.
Exactly.
But this report, this isn't a small sample size. This is data from 1 million conversations with Claude, consumer chats, enterprise logs, the works. And the headline finding is what they're calling the AI paradox.
Right. And the paradox is this. The most accessible technology in human history, you can talk to it like a friend, in plain English, is actually creating a massive divide.
A divide based on what?
Based entirely on human skill. It turns out giving everyone the same tool doesn't yield the same results. Not even close.
Let's get right into the meat of this, because there is a specific number in this report that made me just, stop reading and double-check the methodology. It's a correlation statistic, 0.92.
The 0.92, it is the blockbuster number of the year.
Just to ground this for everyone, I remember from stats class that in economics, if you find a correlation of, 0.4 or 0.5, you're usually popping champagne.
Oh, yeah, that's a strong link.
But 0.92, that's not a trend. That is basically a straight line.
It's nearly a perfect lockstep. What Anthropic found is a 0.92 correlation between a user's human capital, so their educational sophistication, their domain knowledge, and the quality of the output they get from the AI.
So if I can be blunt here, the smarter you are, the smarter the AI acts.
In a sense, yes. We used to think of AI as an oracle. You ask a question, it gives you the truth. But this data suggests AI is actually a mirror.
A mirror.
If you come to the tool with a graduate-level understanding of a topic, and you write a prompt that reflects that structure, that depth, the AI reflects that back with a graduate-level analysis.
But if you come with a vague, I don't really know what I'm looking for kind of query,
you get a generic Wikipedia-level summary. The AI mirrors your cognitive input. It can't fix your lack of structure. You can only process it. If your thinking is muddy, its output will be muddy.
That is a profound shift in perspective. So it's not a magic box that fixes your thinking.
No, it's a lever that amplifies it. And if you have nothing to amplify, well,
let's get nothing.
Precisely. And this is why economists are flagging this as skill-biased technological change. And it's crucial to understand how different this is from previous tech revolutions.
You mean like electricity, the Industrial Revolution?
Exactly. Think about electricity in a factory. When you flip that switch, the machine runs. It increases output for the illiterate worker and the PhD engineer by the same amount. The tool does the work.
Or even the internet Google lowered the search cost for everyone. You didn't need to be a historian to type Rome and get the facts.
But generative AI isn't doing that because it requires you to guide the generation. It rewards people who already have strong foundational skills, reading comprehension, writing clarity, logic.
So it amplifies existing differences.
It does. If you are disorganized, the AI will help you generate disorganized content much, much faster. If you are brilliant and structured, it makes you a supernova.
This is a wake-up call. I think a lot of people thought, great, I don't need to learn to write well. The AI will do it for me. But this data suggests if you can't write well, you actually can't make the AI work well.
That's the trap. The report uses this metric, human education years. They basically estimate the level of schooling required to understand the prompts and the outputs.
And the gap is widening.
The tool creates this form of technological mediation, where the same software on the same laptop produces radically different economic value depending on the brain driving it.
I want to dig into who is actually driving these things well, because the report breaks down usage versus effectiveness. Just having an account doesn't mean you're getting value.
Correct. And this brings us to the most fascinating demographic skew in the data: coding. Coding tasks are absolutely dominating the high-value interactions.
I saw that. Something like 1/3 of consumer usage and almost half of enterprise usage is code-related. That seems incredibly high.
It is. Now, the lazy interpretation is, well, programmers are nerds, they like new tech. But the psychologists behind the study argue it's deeper. It's about computational thinking.
Define that for us, because I assume you don't mean just knowing Python.
No, it's a way of approaching the world. Coding requires structured problem decomposition and precise specification. Before you type a single line of code, you have to break a big, messy problem into small, logical steps.
Right. You can't just tell a computer, make me the website that people like. You have to define everything. You have to be literal.
Exactly. And it turns out that specific mental habit breaking things down and specifying constraints is the exact skill that makes AI work well in any domain. Marketing, law, cooking. If you think like a coder, you win.
Can you give us an example? How does a coder mindset help me plan, say, a family vacation?
Sure, a non-technical user might just type, plan a trip to Italy for me. The AI gives a generic itinerary. Rome, Florence, Venice. Fine, but, useless.
It's the standard tourist brochure. It doesn't know my kids hate museums or that I'm on a budget.
Exactly. Now, the coder approach. They naturally define variables and constraints. They might write, I have 10 days. Budget is X euros per day. Constraint. No more than 2 hours of travel between cities. Preference. Optimize for food quality over hotel luxury.
They're treating the vacation like a software project, debugging the trip before it happens.
They're defining the parameters of success, and because they gave the AI structure, the AI gives them a bespoke, highly usable plane. They are speaking the AI's native language, which is structure.
That explains the geographic data in the report, too. I was surprised to see how uneven adoption is across the U.S.
It mirrors the workforce. You'd expect richer states to use more tech. But the strongest predictor wasn't income, it was the density of computer and math workers.
So having a lot of tech workers makes the whole state better at AI, even the non-tech sectors.
It seems to be a spillover effect. These workers have transferable skills. They take those habits of logic and debugging home, they teach their families, they're power users of logic, and logic is the currency of the AI age.
This touches on the digital divide. We usually talk about that in terms of, who has broadband access. But this report says access is closing fast.
Extremely fast. The catch-up speed is unprecedented. Previous tech, like the PC, took maybe 50 years to spread evenly. AI access is equalizing in 2 to 5 years. Everyone will have the tool.
But, and here's the twist, even though access is equalizing.
Productivity is not.
Because giving everyone a violin doesn't make everyone a symphony orchestra.
That is the perfect analogy. And actually, the gap might widen because the virtuosos can now play pieces that were previously impossible.
Let's look at the speed. The report has stats on how much faster people work with AI. I assume everyone gets faster.
Everyone gets faster, but not equally. Tasks that require college-level understanding get a 12x speed up with AI.
12 times. That's an order of magnitude, a massive productivity gain.
It is, but high school-level tasks, they only get a 9x speed up. Now, 9x is still incredible, but the math means the high-skill workers are extracting more time savings. They are compounding their advantage.
Yet there is a trap here, isn't there? The report talks about de-skilling.
This is the de-skilling trap, and it's the dark side of that productivity boost. The data shows that AI is really good at handling tasks that require higher education levels, complex analysis, synthesis, that kind of thing.
So if the AI does the hard stuff,
the human stops doing it. And if you stop doing it, you lose the ability to do it. They use the example of a travel agent. A high-end agent used to do complex itinerary planning, logistics, connections, visa rules. That's high-skill work.
And AI is great at that now.
So the agent might lose that analytical work and be left with just the mechanical booking. They become a data entry clerk. Their job becomes less cognitively demanding.
This leads to that distinction between automation and augmentation. What do those actually look like in the data?
The data puts hard numbers on them. Augmentation is when you collaborate with the AI. You iterate, you refine. That's more common in consumer use, about 52%.
And in the enterprise?
It's 75% automation.
Meaning, here, AI, you do this whole thing while I go get coffee.
Roughly, yeah. Delegating the task entirely. And the risk there is capability atrophy. If you automate without understanding, you lose the ability to judge if the AI is right.
Which brings us to the junior versus senior developer study. To me, this was the scariest part of the report.
It's the canary in the coal mine. They watched how developers use coding assistants. Senior developers use AI to go faster, but, and this is critical, they have the expertise to check the work. They spot the bugs.
They use it as a force multiplier.
Yeah.
But the juniors don't have that eye yet.
Exactly. The juniors tend to accept code they don't understand. They trust the output. And the long-term problem is the lack of learning. The junior isn't struggling through the problem.
And the struggle is the learning.
Exactly. If you have a robot lift the weights for you, your muscles atrophy. If we automate the apprenticeship tasks, the grunt work where you learn the ropes, how do we create the next generation of experts?
So we have a paradox where the experts get superhuman and the beginners might get stuck in a permanent beginner state.
That is the risk. The middle rungs of the career ladder are being automated away.
Okay, for that it's terrifying. So let's pivot to the solution.
Yeah.
If I'm listening to this and I want to be on the supernova side of this, what do I do? The report pivots to human capital.
The solution is remarkably old school. It's the return of fundamentals. The report argues that the skills we thought were becoming obsolete, deep reading, clear writing, rigorous logic, are now the most critical assets you can have.
It's ironic. We thought computers would kill the need for writing. Instead, they made English the most important programming language in the world.
But it's a specific kind of English. Specification precision. Can you articulate constraints? Can you decompose a complex goal into steps?
It's almost like we all need to become project managers for the algorithms.
That's a great way to put it. The report mentions J.P. Chase. They're treating prompt engineering as a distinct capability. But they aren't teaching magic words. They are teaching their people to construct effective queries.
They also mentioned a financial advisor example that I thought was really practical.
Yes. So clients come in with vague worries. I'm worried about retirement. If you feed that into an AI, you get generic advice.
Save more. Thanks, Claude.
Right. But the best advisors acted as a translation layer. They took the client's messy, emotional worry and translated it into structured queries. Time horizon, 20 years. Tax bracket, high. Risk tolerance, low.
So the skill is translation, translating human messiness into structured logic.
And then verifying the result. Critical evaluation is the other half, the red team concept.
Right.
Yeah, organizations are running exercises where employees deliberately try to get the AI to fail, to make it hallucinate.
To see where the guardrails are.
Exactly. If you don't know where the edge of the cliff is, you can't drive fast. You have to be the editor-in-chief, not just the passive consumer.
This moves us into the future.
Yeah.
The report talks about the metacognitive future. Break that down.
It's about thinking. Since models change, so fast models from 2024 look antique now, learning specific hacks is a waste of time.
Because the model will change next week. That prompt might be useless tomorrow.
Exactly. So you need to learn how to learn with AI. One strategy they mention is mandatory iteration.
What does that look like?
It means you never accept the first output, even if it looks good. You force yourself to engage. You ask the AI to critique its own work. What did you miss? The value comes from the friction.
It's like a tennis rally. You don't just serve and walk away.
Right. And organizations can structure this. They mentioned tiered access. Instead of giving Claude to everyone on day one, give it to the senior staff first.
Why the seniors?
So they can establish best practices. Let them figure out where the tool lies and where it shines. Then have them mentor the juniors on how to use it safely. It turns AI adoption into a mentorship opportunity.
That makes so much sense. It preserves that apprenticeship model we were worried about losing.
Exactly. It frames AI as a tool for augmentation, not automation.
So if we boil this all down, the central paradox is that AI doesn't make us all the same.
No. It rewards clarity, it rewards structure, and it rewards rigor. To get the most out of this futuristic technology, you need to double down on the most traditional human skills.
For the listener, this is the so what moment. Investing in your own human capital, your ability to think and communicate, is the best way to future-proof your career.
You have to bring the brain power to the meeting. The AI is just the stenographer. You are the architect. If you don't have a blueprint, it can't build the house.
And here's where it gets really interesting. We are looking at a future where the digital divide might shift. It used to be about who had the internet.
And now it might be about who has the critical thinking skills to command the algorithms.
That is a provocative thought. If AI amplifies human potential, but requires strong foundational skills to work, are we heading toward a future where the gap between the haves and have-nots is a gap between the thinkers and the users?
And if so, how do we teach thinking in a world that desperately wants to do it for us?
That is the question of the decade. Something to mull over. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.